we got a great little room here, and we have a good time.
Are you crying inside?
Never.
I'll tell you why I say that. I've just watched a show which just amazed me. Nothing outwits you. Nobody shocks you. You just funny with the audience. No script. Anything can happen. There must be something inside you that's wanting this attention, because you could just do gags for 40 minutes and nobody would care.
Well, you know where it really comes from, I think? I grew up inner city Boston, and you had to go through different ethnic neighborhoods to get to where you were going. So you had to learn how to be a quick talker and kind of confuse them. Like, instead of, he's the Italian guy from that town, he's that crazy Italian guy. Just let him through. And that's how it is here. The world, the way it is, I think it's great that we can, no matter who I find in the room, I include them. It's a very personal show. And the best part of the show is people leave and I still call them by their first names, and they're amazed. They're like, and there will be some skeptics who think, well, they must be plants, till you get to the 20th person and they go, he didn't bring the whole room with him, And every night is different, but it's like a roller coaster, this show. And you go up the hill and then down we go, and there's a curve and there's a spin and a flip, and that's really what the show is.
Comedians are always my favorite people because normally they're not funny, which is always odd. That always surprises me. Secondly, the best comedians always have the best memory. A, to remember the gags, but B, to always have a reply. It's kind of happened before. We all know that, you've been doing this a long time. Nothing really can shock you. But tonight, for example, a woman was on the phone.
Yes.
What do you think she was thinking that made it okay to be on the cell phone while she was watching your show?
Well, she had to tend to her business and just figured, well, it's such an easy show, I guess I'm not bothered. I can get my phone call in. But I don't miss a trick in the room. And I think of it as a little church, and I'm the priest, and everybody better listen to me. And for your Jewish listeners, I think of it as a temple, and I'm the rabbi. I figured I'd better explain that. What's funny about it is she actually tested me like, well, I have a phone call. Well, I am sorry. Not only is there an announcement before I come on stage, but I'm working, and yet I'm apologizing to her for interrupting while she's on the phone.
I think in one way you guys have the worst job in the world. A, because you're doing 2 shows a night and one of them's quite late, so people have been drinking. But B, comedy's different to theatre because theatre people kind of know how to behave. But you get people coming in that think, oh, let's go and laugh and drink at the same time. Probably don't know that that's wrong.
Yeah, well, it is wrong in a sense, but not really. It's really, I look for the Achilles heel, people's weaknesses, and once I find it, I'm all over it. But I do it in a nice way with likability. Like I'll never do personal stuff like you're a fat guy or this. I will talk to them right to the line, and then I know when to pull back. But you'll think I'll be talking to you and it's over with, and I'll come back to you, and I move around and I zig and zag, and that's why I get so much repeat business, because they want to be included. They want to bring friends and hope that I get them. But the thing about me is, even I tell my own people who work here, they'll bring family or something or friends. They'll go, hey, that's my friend in third row. And I stop and I say, don't tell me. If you want me to get to him, you got a better chance of not telling me than if you point him out, because that's what I don't do. I want it just to unravel. And that's what happens. And you're lucky I didn't find you.
Well, I think you're so sweet because you won't point out I'm fat. You'll just mock me for my race and religion. That's very kind of you, I think.
Well, I think sweet and Vinnie Favorito is kind of like an oxymoron. And I would never like that word used in the same sentence with my name ever again. No.
Just moron then. Yeah, how about that?
Moron I can handle. I love that. See, I respect moron. Sweet, I think you're trying to corner me in a prison cell. No, we really do. I'm so proud of this show, and I am proud of what I do, but I'm more proud of the crowd, because it's like you say, I'm an entertainer, and I have a lot of respect for every show in this country, because I support all entertainers. But yeah, I can't go to a show twice, or I can't go, and it's tough to even make me laugh. But this crowd is my ammunition for the gun every night, and they really make the show. They are so much funnier than I am. I'm just tying it together, and I'm putting in the little connections that put people, and they think, they could be doing the same job for 20 years, and by the time I get done with them, they're not really sure what they do, and that's the best part of the show, that we can just rattle them enough. But you could be an elderly person, or you could be a young person, or any minority group, and everybody will be gotten to one way or another. And that's what makes it special, I think.
Are you kind of sadistic in a way that you're waiting for somebody to say something that makes you think because they've kind of outwitted you, and that keeps you on the ball?
That's exactly, you nailed it. That's exactly what it is. They keep me sharp, because the day the person comes in and outwits me, now I got to sit in my dressing room and regroup. But I think I'm pretty much on top of my game. But I will do this. When someone does say something funny in the crowd or calls back to something I said earlier, I will tip my hat to him and say, no, that was funny. That was good. But then I'll take control again. And I'll give him about 12 minutes and I'll come back and zap him just to let him know who's in charge.
A lot of comedians I've interviewed say there's only two things you need for comedy. You need an audience that can hear you. That's it. Don't even need to see you, just hear you and not be drunk. And that's the problem with the Late Show. Sometimes people are coming in drunk. What do you do about that? Because you had a guy tonight you didn't kick out. And I thought that was sweet of you because I would have. I mean, he was kind of getting in the way. I was sat behind him and he did kind of annoy. You shut him up, but you put up with it.
Well, you know what? This room, in any room I work, I like the people to know that, you know what? This guy's more tolerant than any other show there is. There's no ushers coming up to me or people shushing me because that's what this show is. Now, alcohol, if it gets too much and it is annoying the crowd, sometimes the crowd will handle it themselves. Shut up, this, and they know they can do that too. But I did keeping him check. The thing about him was there's the happy heckler and then there's the really bad heckler. Now, I'd rather have the really bad heckler so I can bury him. The happy heckler is going, oh yeah, and he's trying to do the jokes with you. How mad can you be at that? That means he's really into the show. But because of the alcohol, he's a little more lippy than the other people. But he doesn't realize he's being lippy. He thinks he's going to get a big laugh because that's what the show is. And that's how the crowd shows him. They're not laughing when he talks. And then you finally just stop getting creative and just go, shut up. When you're just saying shut up, there's no more to say. Just shut up. But that's okay. You can get away with pretty much anything here as long as you do it with tact and grace, and we'll get through it.
Where I got to know you first was through your reputation as a roast comic, where you can just say the most outrageous things about people in front of their face and they laugh. We don't have this culture at all in Britain. But I watched the Pamela Anderson one on DVD when I got here and just loved it. And it's so brave. I don't know who's more brave, you putting yourself up there to be funny or them sitting there listening to it. It's a very odd thing to have a whole show where you're slagging off the person who you're honouring in a way.
Yeah, and the funny thing about the roast with me is they always put me on last before the guest speaker. But the best thing about being the guest speaker at the roast I'm on is he's the guy I go after the least. I get everybody who's been banging him because I think that's what really completes the show. Because I'll never find a guest speaker who's going to get up and rebut people's comments better than I will for him. So I kind of do it for him, and I throw a couple of jabs at him, but I'm on top of everybody.
Well, listen, I've been loving comedy for a long time and admiring you guys because I think what you do is the bravest thing in the world. And tonight, you were really tremendous and such a great act. And there's really not an act there as such because you can't say you're a gag man or this. You can't put you in a pigeonhole because you just react to anything. And I think that's so clever. Congratulations and thanks for spending the time after a show. You must be exhausted.
No, you know what? I'll be honest with you. I wish the shows could go longer, but we do got to get them out and this and that. I enjoy it. I love it. But also, not to be corny, it's great now, like a little show like this, that it's going to be aired over there. And anybody who helps me launch my show further really means a lot to me, and I appreciate you coming.
Vinnie, thanks for talking to us. You're on at O'Shea's twice nightly, and congratulations, and keep doing what you do.
I will, brother. Thank you so much.